The ASP AEROFLEX Automatic Endoscope Reprocessor, AER, is designed to provide high-level disinfection for flexible, submersible endoscopes. High-level disinfection requires that the AER be used with ASP AEROFLEX solution following its instructions for use. This system has been validated by ASP and cleared by the Food and Drug Administration for use with ASP AEROFLEX orthophthalaaldehyde solution, ASP Aerozyme Extra Multi-Enzymatic Detergent, AutoSure MRC Reagent, and isopropanol 70%. This video will present important information about operating and maintaining the ASP AEROFLEX AER with AutoSure MRC monitor, including an overview of safety, setup, and cycle information, preparing for endoscope processing, processing endoscopes, replacing solutions, self-disinfecting the reprocessor, and scheduled maintenance. For full instructions on the ASP AEROFLEX AER, please refer to the user's guide. Whenever coming into contact with a soiled endoscope or chemicals, all personnel should wear proper personal protective equipment, PPE. At a minimum, this includes eye protection, impervious gown, face shield, or a surgical mask that will not trap vapors, and gloves. A clean gown and gloves should be used for each endoscope processed. The ASP AEROFLEX AER uses cleaning adapters provided by the endoscope manufacturer in combination with the ASP AEROFLEX AER connection tubes. Your local ASP representative will provide you with connection diagrams for the specific endoscope models in use at your facility. Connect the endoscopes as shown in the diagrams. The ASP AEROFLEX AER uses several common screen elements to simplify your interaction with the system. As general guidance, do not touch the screen with sharp objects, such as pens or pencils, and avoid touching the screen with contaminated gloves. From the Tools menu, you'll have access to a number of screens, including Manage Supplies, Additional Features, Reprint Cycle, Drain, Alcohol Flush, Prime Solutions, Manage Scope, Manage Physicians, Manage Users. You'll also have access to general functions, including System Configuration, Date and Time, Edit Cycles, Advanced Settings, Brightness, Network Settings, and Cycle History. Refer to the user's guide for full instructions on using these and all other screens on the ASP AEROFLEX AER. The main cycles of the AER are Standard Cycle, Configurable Cycle, and Disinfect Only Cycle. The stages of the Standard and Configurable Cycle include wash, rinse, disinfection, 2 additional rinse cycles, alcohol flush, and air purge. The stages of the Disinfect Only Cycle include a preliminary rinse, disinfection, 2 rinses, optional alcohol flush, and air purge. The Configurable and Disinfect Only cycle can be customized by turning off the alcohol flush or increasing the air purge time. As noted, the Configurable cycle and the Disinfect Only cycle can both be edited if your site has chosen to allow the use of editable cycles. To edit the Configurable cycle or Disinfect Only cycle, tap the Additional Features button, then the Edit Cycles button, then tap the Configurable Cycle button. On this screen, you can add a maximum of 3 minutes to the air purge stage or turn off the alcohol flush by selecting No. If you turn off alcohol, follow your facility's procedures regarding alcohol processing. You can then tap Done to apply the changes or Cancel to discard all changes made. To edit the Disinfect Only cycle, follow the same steps but select Disinfect Only from the Edit Cycle screen. The proper preparation of an endoscope is key to successful processing in the AER. Pre-cleaning of the endoscope at the point of use is required and should be completed using the manufacturer's and facility's policies and procedures. Once the endoscope is pre-cleaned, perform a leak test. Please note, there is also a leak test feature on the ASP AEROFLEX AER. Leak testing of the endoscope in the AER is not intended to replace the instructions provided by the manufacturer of the endoscope, but are to be used in conjunction with them. Be sure to follow your endoscope manufacturer and your hospital or healthcare facility's policies for leak testing endoscopes. This function can be found on the main screen. The next step is to manually clean the endoscope following manufacturer and facility instructions. Be aware that not all endoscopes are qualified for processing in the AER. Always check with your ASP representative to confirm each endoscope is qualified for processing in ASP AEROFLEX AER. When cleaning is complete, the endoscope is ready for loading into the AER as follows. Place the control head on the deepest end of the basin and coil the insertion tube loosely along the support rack. Then loosely coil the universal cord and the video component into the basin. If you're using an accessory basket, carefully close the basket and place it into the basin. Make sure all portions of the endoscope are below the lip of the overflow drain in the center of the basin. Next, attach any necessary caps or connectors required by the manufacturer. Then, using the connection diagrams as a reference, attach the connection tubes to the endoscope and AER basin. All 4 channel ports on the basin must have a tube connected. In addition to channel connections specified in the connection diagrams, you can also attach the leak test connection tube to the endoscope and ASP AEROFLEX AER leak test port to keep endoscope pressurized throughout the reprocessing cycle. Make sure all connectors are firmly seated on the endoscope and basin by listening and feeling for an audible click. Once completed, remove and discard your soiled gloves and put on a new clean pair before touching the screen. Then close the lid, making sure nothing is pinched between the lid and the basin, and confirming the endoscope is below the lip of the overflow drain. To start a standard endoscope processing cycle, tap the Tap to Start Standard Cycle button on the Start Cycle screen. On the next screen, tap each white box or use the barcode scanner to enter the scope ID, operator, patient ID, and physician. Press Enter button to return to the cycle information screen after each entry. Operator, patient ID, and physician are optional. Tap the Start Cycle button. To start a cycle other than the standard cycle, tap Other Cycles on the Start Cycle screen and follow the same procedure to input cycle information. Review the information for the cycle selected and tap the Start Cycle button to begin a cycle. Once the cycle is started, the Cycle in Progress screen is displayed. From this screen, you can monitor the cycle progress. In addition to the steps of the cycle, minutes remaining will be displayed. During the disinfection stage, the concentration of circulating disinfectant is checked. If the concentration is above the MRC, a graphic indicating the MRC check passed will be displayed in the upper right corner of the control panel. To cancel a cycle, tap the Cancel Cycle button on the Cycle in Progress screen, then tap Yes on the confirmation screen. A red cycle canceling screen will appear with a progress bar tracking the cancellation process. Once complete, a cycle canceled screen will appear with an error message. Tap Print Details to print the cycle report. Next, hit Confirm to unlock the lid of the AER. If login is enabled, you will be prompted to enter your login credentials, after which the lid will automatically unlock. At the end of a successful reprocessing cycle, the display panel will display a green screen with basic cycle information for your review. Tap Print Details to print the cycle report. Then tap the Confirm button and enter your user PIN if applicable to unlock the lid. Before removing the endoscope from the AER, make certain all connections are intact. If any connections are detached, the endoscope was not successfully disinfected and must be reprocessed. Once you determine reprocessing was successful, using clean gloves, disconnect the tube connector to the elevator/water jet channel by pushing the release button. Then disconnect all other connected tubes by lifting up the ring at the base of the connection fitting. Next, disconnect and remove all connectors from the endoscope. Finally, remove the endoscope carefully from the basin and follow your facility policy for drying and storage. The cycle printout report will provide detailed information about the cycle. Starting from the top of the report, the header shows the product ID and serial number. The next section includes date, time, software version, hospital, facility name, and department name. The body of the report includes type of cycle, number of completed cycles, endoscope ID, endoscope serial number, endoscope manufacturer, endoscope model number, operator, patient and physician information, date and time the cycle started and ended, total time taken for the cycle, status of finish cycle, start time of wash stage, disinfect stage, air purge, and alcohol flush stage, the MRC results associated with the cycle, the OPA exposure time for the cycle, the minimum disinfectant contact temperature measured during the disinfect stage, as well as indication of whether or not the requirements for HLD have been achieved. If the system is set up to require a login, the name of the user who confirmed the cycle information and removed the endoscope will be labeled as removed by. This does not have to be the same operator as the person who processed the endoscope. For canceled cycles, 2 horizontal black bars between the total cycle time and the cycle status will be displayed, followed by the cycle status. If you would like to reprint the cycle report, from the Tools menu, tap the Reprint Cycle button. When the cycle reprint screen is displayed, you can select reprint either by cycle or by date. If login is enabled, you will be prompted to enter your login credentials, after which the lid will automatically unlock. To replace disinfectant, tap the Manage Supplies button on the Tools menu, then tap Replace OPA and MRC. In some locations, the neutralization of ASP AEROFLEX orthothalonaldehyde solution is required prior to OPA disposal. Check your local regulations and hospital or healthcare facilities' chemical handling policy prior to disposal. The system has been validated for use with Neutralizer ChemSafe 9074. The AER will automatically prompt you to neutralize the disinfectant prior to disposal if your system setup is set up to require neutralization. Contact your representative to align your system to local regulatory requirements. Once neutralization is complete, or if your site does not require neutralization, you'll move forward with the following steps to replace the disinfectant solution. First, when prompted, close the basin lid, then tap the Next button to drain the disinfectant in the tank. A progress bar will display the progress. Have 3 bottles of ASP AEROFLEX orthothalonaldehyde solution ready for use. Note that the AER may only be used with ASP AEROFLEX solution. The screen will prompt you to open the basin lid and scan the first bottle. For proper scanning, you'll position the RFID icon on the bottle within 2 inches, 50 millimeters, of the RFID icon on the front of the ASP AEROFLEX AER. The system will beep when the bottle is successfully scanned. Upon successful scan of the bottle, the system will beep, the gray icon turns green, and prompts user to pour OPA into the basin. Once you finish pouring the first bottle into the basin, press OK. The system will then transfer the liquid from the basin into the storage tank. Press OK when there is no more liquid in the basin. Once complete, repeat these steps for the second and third bottle. Finally, when prompted, close the basin lid. Once the OPA solution is replaced, the screen will prompt you to replace the MRC reagent. Note that the AutoSure MRC reagent must be replaced at the same time as the ASP AEROFLEX solution. Invert the AutoSure MRC reagent 5 times and shake vigorously before use. To replace the MRC reagent, wearing PPE, which includes eye protection, impervious gown, face shield, or simple surgical mask that will not trap vapors, and gloves, first open the solutions compartment door and place clean towels inside the compartment and on the floor to contain drips. Next, turn the used AutoSure MRC reagent bottle cap counterclockwise to unscrew it from the dip tube. Invert the new AutoSure MRC reagent bottle 5 times, followed by vigorous shaking. Tap the Confirm button. Then open the new AutoSure MRC reagent bottle and peel off the entire foil seal. Do not just poke a hole in the seal for the dip tube. Use the cap from the new bottle to close the old bottle. Insert the dip tube into the new bottle and hold the bottle cap and turn the bottle counterclockwise to close to ensure the dip tube does not get twisted or coiled. Then, close the compartment door and tap the Next button. Once the screen confirms successful replacement of the OPA disinfectant and MRC reagent, tap Done. To replace the detergent, ensure you are wearing the appropriate PPE, including eye protection, impervious gown, face shield or a surgical mask that will not trap vapors, and gloves. Tap the Manage Supplies button on the Tools menu, then tap Replace Detergent. Next, open the solutions compartment door and place clean towels inside the compartment and on the floor to contain any drips. The tubing attached to the detergent bottle cap has a disconnect button on the connector. Press the button to release the connector and lift the tube off the cap. Then set the tube on a clean towel and remove the used bottle from the compartment. Now remove the cap and the dip tube from the used bottle and place it on a clean towel. Tap the Next button. The screen will prompt you to scan the new detergent bottle. To scan, position the RFID icon on the bottle within 2 inches of the RFID icon on the machine. When the scan of the detergent bottle is successful, the system will beep. Now open the new bottle of detergent and use the cap to close the used bottle. Place the dip tube inside the new bottle and screw on the cap by holding the cap still and twisting the bottle, making sure it's tightly sealed. Then reconnect the tube to the detergent bottle cap. Press the connector down until you feel it stop. You'll hear a click. Once you hear the click, pull the tube up gently to ensure it's connected. Next, set the bottle inside the compartment, taking care not to pinch or kink the tube, then tap the Next button. Once the screen confirms successful replacement of the detergent, close the solutions compartment door and tap the Prime button to prime the detergent line if needed. Then tap the Done button to return to the Manage Supplies screen. Finally, clean up any drips and dispose of the towels and used bottle according to your hospital or healthcare facility's policy. The alcohol bottle should be filled at the beginning of each day and during the day if you run more than 9 or 10 cycles a day. Use only 70% isopropanol. To refill the alcohol, open the solutions compartment door and place clean towels inside the cabinet and on the floor to contain any drips. Next, remove the alcohol bottle from the solutions compartment door. The tube attached to the alcohol bottle cap has a disconnect button on the connector. Press the button to release the connector and lift the tube off the cap. Then set the tube on a clean towel. Unscrew the cap of the alcohol bottle and set the cap on a clean towel. Now, open the container of replacement alcohol and refill the bottle. The bottle holds 500 milliliters or 16.9 ounces of alcohol. Next, replace the cap on the alcohol bottle, then replace the cap on the container of replacement alcohol. Reconnect the tube to the fitting on the alcohol bottle cap and press the connector down until you hear a click. Finally, clean up any drips or spills and dispose of the towels according to your hospital or healthcare facility's policy. The system will prompt you to replace the water filter cartridge after running a chemical self-disinfection cycle and after reaching the minimum recommended cycles. You may also choose to replace the water filter cartridge more frequently if the system cancels or the cycle indicates the error "basin fills too slowly." To replace the water filter cartridge, first tap the Manage Supplies button on the Tools menu, then tap the Replace Filter button. Once you have the new ASP water filter cartridge with O-ring ready for replacement, tap the Next button. When the process is complete, you'll be prompted to open the solutions compartment door. Once it's open, press and hold the black pressure relief button for 5 to 10 seconds to relieve pressure. Then tap the Next button. Place clean towels inside the compartment and on the floor to contain any drips. Now, use the filter wrench to remove the water filter housing, then remove the used water filter cartridge and O-ring. Empty any remaining water in the filter housing and tap the Next button. Lubricate the O-ring and insert the new water filter cartridge and O-ring following the instructions for use provided with the filter cartridge packaging. Next, replace and tighten the water filter housing by hand, then tap the Next button. A progress indicator bar is displayed until the process is complete. When prompted, press and hold the pressure relief button for 5 to 10 seconds to allow air to escape. Then check for leaks on and below the housing. If there are leaks, follow the screen prompts to repeat the steps necessary to eliminate the leaks. If there are no leaks, tap the Done button. The Manage Supplies screen will be displayed. The MRC monitor filter will be replaced as part of the planned maintenance schedule. Depending on your facility's water quality, the MRC monitor filter can become clogged, which can cause a reduction in the number of cycles. The filter can be replaced by the customer as often as needed based on water quality. To replace the MRC monitor filter, open the solutions compartment door, pull the detergent bottle out, and move the reagent bottle to the right. Do not disconnect any tubing. With the MRC filter exposed, place clean towels underneath the MRC filter to contain any drips. Unscrew the filter housing to disconnect from the ASP AEROFLEX AER. Remove the old filter housing from the blue lure lock and screw the new filter housing onto the clear fitting. Next, reconnect the blue lure lock to the AER and feed the extra tubing back into the system. Put the reagent bottle and detergent bottle back to the original position. The ASP AEROFLEX AER is designed to be self-disinfected once per week. It is important to run self-disinfection regularly to prevent buildup of biofilm. Depending on your facility's preference, you may select either thermal or chemical self-disinfection. Be aware that performing a self-disinfect without connection tubes attached to every basin connection port may result in damaging the AER and will not properly disinfect the reprocessor. Additionally, all endoscopes and other equipment must be removed from the reprocessor before self-disinfecting. To perform a thermal self-disinfection, first tap the Other Cycles button from the Start Cycle screen. Then tap the Thermal Self-Disinfect button. Remove any endoscope from the basin and any connector from the leak test port. Next, connect the pressure relief tube to all 4 basin connection ports. Close the lid and tap the Start button. The thermal self-disinfection cycle is up to 90 minutes long. If a login is required, the login screen will prompt you to log in before continuing. A progress indicator bar will be displayed until the thermal self-disinfection cycle is complete. Once a successful completion of the thermal self-disinfection cycle is confirmed on the screen, tap the Done button to return to the Start Cycle screen. Finally, use a clean, dry cloth to wipe down the lid and basin. To perform a chemical self-disinfection, tap the Other Cycles button from the Start Cycle screen. Then tap the Chemical Self-Disinfect button. At the end of the chemical self-disinfect cycle, you will be required to replace several consumables. Before you start the cycle, make certain you have 3 bottles of Aero OPA solution, 1 bottle of AutoSure MRC reagent, 1 new water filter cartridge, and 1 new O-ring ready for replacement. Now tap the Next button and remove any endoscope from the basin and any connector from the leak test port. Then connect a pressure relief tube to all 4 basin connection ports, close the lid, and tap the Start button. If a login is required, the login screen will prompt you to log in before continuing. A progress indicator bar will be displayed until the cycle is complete. When the cycle is complete, tap the Replace OPA and Filter button and follow the screen prompts to perform that process. At the beginning of each day, confirm the ASP AEROFLEX AER power is on to allow ASP Aero OPA solution to warm up. Next, check alcohol level and refill if necessary. Note that you may also need to add during the day depending on usage. Finally, check the cycles remaining in the Manage Supply screen for disinfectant, detergent, and water filter, and replace solutions as indicated. At the end of each day, use an alcohol wipe to clean the outer basin surface and the inner basin surface. Then check the drain screen and remove any debris. Next, dry the basin and lid inner surfaces with a soft cloth. Leave the basin lid open to allow complete drying. Finally, wipe the surface of the control panel with an alcohol wipe and allow it to dry. The ASP AEROFLEX AER will require you to run a self-disinfection cycle every 7 days. Refer to the user's guide for more details. It's important to run self-disinfection regularly to prevent the buildup of biofilms. Planned maintenance by an ASP qualified service technician is required every 1,500 cycles or 12 months, whichever comes first. The system will notify you on your cycle printout when 50 cycles remain. Contact your ASP service representative to schedule service. This concludes our overview of the ASP AEROFLEX AER with AutoSure MRC monitor. For complete information, warnings, and instructions, please read and follow the user's guide before use.